For those of you who are unfamiliar with my living situation in the past couple of months, you may or may not know that I've recently moved to New York. I'm a New Yorker as of 2 weeks ago, but prior to moving to New York, when I first announced that I was moving to the Big Apple, my friends and family would all come to me with a single question. And that question was, why are you moving to New York? And for me, I would always respond for the vibes, baby. And the reason why is because, quite frankly, I didn't really have a great reason listed off the top of my head. But today, dear Toastmasters, I want to talk a little bit more about the reasons post hoc why I have decided to move to New York. And my story starts a long, long time ago in my childhood. Growing up, my parents had a lot of expectations for me, and it felt almost as if they had constructed a giant box for me to live out my life from elementary to high school, and that I had to follow the script in order to meet the expectations that they had set for me. Of course, I wanted to escape this box, and in college, I certainly tried to do so. And I first tried to become more of an independent person. But really, I would say I only seriously felt like I was starting my life anew after I graduated and moved to Seattle. The move to Seattle was initially difficult. I did not know many people. Most of my friends from college, they had chosen to stay in Texas. And so I came into Seattle only really knowing one or two people. As a result, my first 6 months in the Emerald City was quite difficult. It was kind of sad, especially when Seattle winters get pretty gloomy. But over the course of the year, I found a new group of friends and I built a fantastic social life. And I have friends in Seattle who continue to live in there today, like Ashwin, and I hold very dearly. That being said, around the 2.5 year mark, my time in Seattle was starting to get a little bit stale. Going out to eat was no longer as exciting as it used to be, and I felt like I'd explored the majority of the city. And so when my very good college friend came to me and told me that she was moving to New York, she asked whether or not I would hold to the original promise I had made about moving to the same city with her at some point. I'd always thought that what she said was a bit of a joke, so I hadn't taken it quite seriously. But then she actually was coming to me and asking whether or not I was serious about it. And so I was at a bit of a crossroads. Did I want to leave this box that I crafted for myself out of my own desire and hard work with a group of friends that I very much loved? Would I be willing to leave that and perhaps go to a brand new city and build a brand new box that I did not know for certain whether or not I would like more? And I was very much at a crossroads with this decision. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't really fully decide until I had signed a lease for an apartment in New York. And it's safe to say, between signing the lease in February to 2 weeks ago, there were some things going on because I had done or I decided to move to New York very abruptly. Some might even say very abruptly and impulsively. And I had done so without really thinking about the financial implications. But of course, now the financial hardships are over. I lived with my parents for 2 months and now I'm in New York. And I will say that although I've only been in New York for the past 2 or so weeks, I will say I think there are things that I've experienced that can only really be experienced in a city as large as New York. For example, this past week, last Wednesday, I went to a bar in the Lower East Side. The bar was decorated full of these red LEDs. It definitely gave a bit of a hellish atmosphere. And after crushing 2 drinks with my roommate and one of my friend asked whether or not I would be interested in grabbing street food at Jackson Heights, which is about a 30-minute train ride away. I initially said no, but then we decided to flip a coin, and the coin said yes. So we took a subway ride, and on the subway ride, it was almost a liminal space. Subway rides at 11 p.m. Tend to do so. And we had a really interesting conversation about the morality of stripping. And while we were having this conversation, my friend, my roommate, and I, some person on the subway butted in to our conversation, and all of a sudden it became a four-way discussion about the ethics of stripping. After we got off the subway, I was in Jackson Heights. I'd never been before, and it was almost a completely different place. I think my roommate and I were the only people who were non-South Asian, and we got some fantastic street food, and we went home. But the entire experience almost felt like I had gone to hell, been in some limbo, and then reborn as a Bangladeshi man. And that only lasted until the clock struck 2 a.m., in which I went back home to my apartment and went to work the next day. So my time in New York, it's only been 2 weeks, but I think that this box, it really is something, man. And I hope to delight you with more stories of New York in the future. Thanks for listening to my speech.